This is a car that's progressive, it's easy to control. It might be the most approachable Ferrari ever.
This is the Roma. It's Ferrari's latest front-engined rear-wheel drive berlinetta. Its twin-turbocharged V8 makes 620 horsepower. It uses F1-inspired active aerodynamics for incredible performance. It's a fearsome slice of low-slung, 200-mile-an-hour exotica that in the right hands can dominate a racetrack.
Except this isn't actually a Ferrari for the racetrack. No. It's a Ferrari for the streets. You see, Ferrari are targeting new customers because apparently there are some people in the world for whom sports cars are a little bit uncouth. There are people out there who just aren't interested in driving fast every single day. Nutters, I know. So the Roma is all about elegance and refinement and will appeal to a whole new crowd.
Ferrari already had a car that fitted that brief, of course. It's called the Portofino, but the Roma will sit alongside it, representing a classier, less racy coupe option that will appeal to an even wider variety of people.
Even the name has wide appeal. They chose the name Roma because they want people to fantasize about driving in one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Rome. Ciao bella. Grazie ragazzi. When you think about jumping into a normal Ferrari hypercar, there's so much pressure attached. When you think about jumping into a Roma, you think about turning up to your favorite casino, a film premiere, the theater, looking fresh, turning heads.
And on your way there, what you'll find is a car that's quiet, has a smooth 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, carbon brakes that are easy to modulate, comfy light steering, and is easy to park, whether it's in your hands or in the hands of the valet at your favorite 5-star hotel.
But the Roma isn't actually just for special occasions. No, it's built according to the principles of La Nuova Dolce Vita, which is Italian for living your best life. Ferrari want you to drive, use, and enjoy your Roma every single day and in every single way.
You see, with the Roma, you can do anything. You can pop down to your local high street shop. You can go on a romantic trip, soak up the sun and the views with a loved one, reminiscing on old times while thinking about the future. You can frolic together in a beautiful meadow in the Italian Alps, getting lost in the moment, falling deeper into each other's spell. Or enjoy a picnic, perhaps challenge each other to a game of whatever this is, before taking the next step, meeting each other's families to show how committed you are to each other before taking things wherever your feelings and emotions might take you. Yes, this is a car that you'll want to spend time with, and who could blame you when it looks like this? It's one of the most beautiful Ferraris we've seen in some time, certainly the one with potential for the widest appeal. Its design is cohesive, muscular, arresting, in a way that doesn't seem too shouty. The front grille is reminiscent of the classics, brought up to date with an overhanging shark nose effect. The headlights feature modern matrix LED technology with an understated DRL. The sides are simple, taut, muscular, and the rear sports newly designed brake lights, a large diffuser, and an active 3-position spoiler. It's even practical with a 2+2 layout. These rear seats are for children, or if you're feeling less cruel, bags, and enough boot space for a couple of small suitcases.
It's gorgeous inside as well. I'll be honest, a lot of Ferraris are quite samey. Up until this point, they've been okay, but not spectacular. But the Roma is sensational inside. I especially like what they've done with this dual cockpit design, which makes it look like you're in 2 separate single-seaters sat side by side. On top of that, you've got lovely materials, great Italian craftsmanship. Plus, and this is amazing by the way, this metal gated shifter that's designed to look like an old school manual box. Plus, have a look at the key. That is absolutely gorgeous. The tech is really good as well. This is actually quite similar to what you find in the new SF90 Stradale hypercar. So you've got 2 displays. The primary display is this 8.4-inch portrait screen in the center console. And here you'll find all your access to audio, phone, navigation, and climate. And then behind the steering wheel is an enormous and gorgeous 16-inch curved display. Now, this can show you all your usual information like your rev counter, your maps, and your driving data. But if you use this touch sensitive section on the steering wheel, you could actually enter a view max mode and basically explode any individual element you want to be enlarged. The steering wheel is worth talking about as well. Almost every button, apart from the indicators and the wiper, is now capacitive. It's like a touchscreen, but located on your steering wheel. Even the engine start button isn't physical anymore. And the Manettino, look how cute that is. Little dainty Manettino, gorgeous. The final screen I want to talk about is located on the passenger side. Now this gives your passenger access to settings, navigation, your audio controls, and your performance, which will show them how fast you're going. Very clever, but probably a bit pointless because let's face it, they don't have to look at the screen to know how fast you're going. They're gonna feel it. Power comes from an old favorite. It's a 3.8 litre twin turbocharged V8 that in here makes 620 horsepower and 780 newton meters of torque. It's a properly powerful engine, this thing. 0 to 62, 3.4 seconds. 0 to 124 miles an hour, 9.3. It's not quite supercar territory, but trust me, this thing's quick. The power delivery in this car is really linear. It's not spiky at all. You can trust this car almost at all times. And a lot of Ferraris, they make such big power and so explosively that when you put your foot down, even in a straight line, the back end wants to swap ends on you. But in this, it's super linear. You could put your mum in this car, ask her to put her foot down, and there'd be no drama whatsoever.
The Roma uses a new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission based on the one in the SF90. It's tuned to be more enjoyable in dynamic driving, more comfy in the city, and more economical, with gear ratios that are deliberately longer in the higher gears to improve economy.
My only issue with the gearbox is that the gearing is a little bit too long. Apparently the gearing's now 4% shorter than you got in the Portofino, but in this, it still feels long. I'll show you what I mean. I'm now in 6th gear, doing 1,000 RPM, 5th, 1,000 and a bit RPM, 4th, 2,000 RPM, 3rd, 3,000 RPM. It's only until you get to 2nd gear when the car is really ready to accelerate. Everywhere else, you put your foot down and you have to wait. I've never been in a Ferrari where I could floor it for this long and not die.
Having said that, it can be rewarding to keep the engine revs high to extract peak performance from this car. The twin-turbo V8 makes 760 newton meters of torque from 3,000 RPM all the way to just shy of 6,000, with peak power arriving at 7,500 RPM. So it does pay to use all the revs and let the V8 sing.
The exhaust, not that loud, not that aggressive. It sounds good. Is that part of this car's understated nature? Maybe, but the Roma does use a GPF, a gas particulate filter, in order to help it clean up its emissions. But the byproduct of that is that the car doesn't sound as aggressive as you might expect. Now, Ferrari have been clever. They've tried to claw back some of that sound by deleting the rear silencer and installing an active exhaust flag. It works to a certain extent, but this is definitely a car for people who like understated looks and understated sound.
They use optional magneto-rheological adaptive dampers in this car. In other words, when you're going in a straight line, it's soft and supple, but when you're cornering hard, it essentially uses an electromagnetic reaction to firm up the damper fluid to reduce body roll. And it works brilliantly.
This being a Ferrari, the Roma has the famous Ferrari Manettino, and this one is super cute. It also has, for the first time ever in a Ferrari GT, 5 settings: wet, comfort, sport, race, and off. The first 2 modes are the ones you want to be in if you're a relative newcomer to performance cars, or if you're driving in bad weather. But if you want to have some fun, flick it into race, and suddenly the Roma transforms.
Handling is the Roma's strongest asset. For a car that isn't aimed at people who like driving fast, it really is lovely to drive fast. The car generates 95 kilograms of downforce thanks to underbody vortex generators and a rear spoiler with low, medium and high downforce settings that are chosen depending on your speed and degree of cornering. Ultimately, the car has a tendency towards understeer, which can prove tricky on these slippery Italian roads, but the steering has plenty of feedback to allow you to detect and mitigate that loss of grip. And with such power on tap, oversteer is only a boot full of throttle away, if you so wish.
In race mode, and especially with traction control switched off, the car becomes incredibly playful and will throw all types of shapes. And it's not spiky in the slightest. This is a car that's progressive, it's easy to control. It might be the most approachable Ferrari ever.
The Roma is a departure for Ferrari. This isn't your usual highly strung prancing horse designed to decimate the competition in motorsport. This is more nuanced.
The Roma's for heading out to the theatre, making a splash on the red carpet, heading out to your favourite casino, having a nice romantic picnic. It's basically for doing whatever it is you want to do, whenever you want to do it. What is it they say? La nuove dolce vita? Yeah. The Roma is all about living your best life. Checkmate. Don't look at me like that.